All right, functions. Here we go. Here's our weekly intent and programming overview for this next 6 week cycle. So it's a little bit of a shorter one. So here's what we're going to be doing for Mondays and kind of on Wednesdays too. We're going to actually alternate the days each week just to kind of keep it fresh. But let's see for this week, for Monday, the strength and the skill is going to be focused on the lower body. So we're going to work on some kind of muscle activation. We're going to work on some joint mobility and then actually kind of put it together into more of a functional or integrated movement, kind of including those joints and those muscle groups. So the first part A, we're going to do hamstring activation. So I've actually recorded a video you guys can watch on how to do this. We're going to practice on activating those hamstring muscles. We got two sets of them. We got one more on the outer side of our hamstring and more on the inner side of our hamstring. The purpose of part A is more about mapping that out and really feeling the contraction. So we're going to hold the contraction. Once you follow the video, you can see what I mean by that. But the idea is to hold the contraction, really feel those muscles squeezing. We do 10 to 20 seconds on one side and then 10 to 20 seconds on the other side. Now, there is an inner and outer hamstring. What I would do is focus on the one that you're struggling to feel the most. So if it's the outer hamstring, focus on that for both sides. Maybe it's actually outer on one leg and then inner on the other leg. And that's okay if you do it that way as well. The idea is like, let's just discover kind of where the hamstring is and really try to be able to create a lot of contraction in it. If we're not feeling the hamstring as well, can you like that will start to bleed into other movements. So like if we're doing squats, we're doing lunges and you don't feel your hamstrings, we're starting to load those joints. We're losing input that we could be using to make our body more stable and more strong in those positions. So maybe some of the pains and aches you might be feeling or range of motion issues might be because you don't actually have the awareness of the muscle in the first place. You're not actually using it. So for that first piece, really focus on the activation, 10 to 20 seconds per side, and then we're going to rest 20 to 30 seconds per side. So after you do one, take a little bit of a break and then do the other side. And again, really hammer in the skill of being aware of where it is first. And then you can focus on how hard you contracted. And some of you might feel a cramp in the beginning. That's okay. Again, it might mean that you just haven't ever like activated that muscle properly before. So it's just so brand new. It's a huge shock to the system. That's okay. Just ease into it. Maybe dial down how intense you do it. After that, our hip circles are more about motor control and creating mobility. So we want to be able to really feel the joint as we're doing it. You'll feel the muscles working too as well. We want to be accurate with how we move that hip. We want to make sure our brain is focused on the task. We're creating control. We're focusing on the actual shape of a circle when we're doing it, and notice if there's any kind of shaky points in that circle. If there is, go a little slower through them to really let your brain map that out in your mind. So if you rush through that, those are positions that we're missing an opportunity to get stronger in, and it's going to show up in different ways for you, whether it's in your walk, how you stand, or even any of these functional movements. So make sure you're really being aware of where those sticky points are and try to go through it slow so you can start to allow your brain to map that out better. Then we're going to go into weighted lunges, 3 sets of 5 per side. We want to make it a tough progression. It could be walking lunges with weight or just regular lunges, just some kind of lunge progression where we're challenging the one side at a time when we're doing this. So 3 sets of 5, like I said, and then give yourself a little bit more of a rest. The tempo is 2 seconds on the way down, no pause at the bottom, explosive on the way up, and then a pause at least for some time at the top. After we do that, our workout's going to be a good kind of start to our Monday, get our cardio going. 5 rounds, 1 minute row, 1 minute burpees. So pick a progression specifically for the burpee today where you can just keep moving for that minute. I would say be able to do 5 or more in that minute. So if it means to go off a box or off a bench, do that. It's more about the cardio today than it is about that strength piece. If you do have the ability to go to the floor, I always say too as well, let's go down to the ground if you can. Though if it's like one every minute, you're going to miss the intent of today's workout. So definitely try to be getting closer to that 5 or more rep range for today. Other than that, we're going to hit that aerobic endurance with that workout. And overall, like I said, Mondays and Wednesdays are actually going to be similar in a way. So I'll actually talk about that right now. So jumping into Wednesday, same idea, but just for the upper body. So we're going to do some lat activation. We're going to do some scapular circle. So this is an area that, this is the shoulder blade. Sometimes I notice like we're not really using our scaps as well. So we're going to just practice like actually creating mobility and control in it. So kind of like the hip circles we do on Monday. The same idea with the shoulder blade, really trying to be aware of where it is and keeping it smooth. Common thing you're going to see with this is that the elbow is going to bend. So really try to keep the elbow from bending out of the movement itself and focus on moving the shoulder blade. And then to follow all of these up, we're going to do a bench press. So you're welcome, Mary. 3 sets of 5. We're going to focus on working on upper body strength. So we're going to get the benches out. If you have any like problems from side to side, so that means like any mobility issues or any pains or aches, what I would do is maybe do a dumbbell bench press instead of a barbell bench press, so you can start to address those issues a little bit more. Just because of the barbell, you're going to start to kind of compensate a little bit more doing that. So after that, our workout, 15 minutes, a little bit of a longer one, 5 calories on the bike, 7 kettlebell squats, 9 ring rows. So we got kind of like the full body workout today. We got a cardio piece, we got a weightlifting piece, and a gymnastics piece in our workout. I would say like see how the first couple rounds feel in this one. If you finish like let's say 2 minutes for every round, try to keep that pace up for the 15 minutes. The idea is to hit that endurance piece and some strength as well in this. The more it's on the endurance side of things, so repeatability is going to be key in this. So find a pace, try to sit into it and manage that for the 15 minutes today to really hit the intent out of the workout being more of endurance. With a little bit of strength kind of sprinkled in there. Kettlebell squats, again, choose something for weight that feels challenging for 7, but you can do 7 every time. And then the 9 ring rows, again, this will be a little bit more, a little bit less strength and a little bit more endurance, though I would still play with the progressions and see what you can find that you can do 9 in a row, but feels challenging, so you're getting something out of it. Next day, Thursday, we're going to be doing some vision and balance. So we're going to get this back. We're going to train this a little bit more. I'm excited about this one because we're going to really try to increase that stability and the balance. And it's not so much about like standing on one leg or balancing on that one leg. It's more about how this translates into strength, how this translates into posture. So a lot of the neural mechanisms working in the background. So like our inner ear and our eyes dictate how we stand and dictate how much strength we have. So if these positions or these areas are not getting the best input or are not as strong, we're kind of leaving a lot of strength on the table. Or we could even look at it from another perspective. If you have pains or aches, some of this might be actually coming from here too as well for you. So for this day, you might see a benefit of strength going up, or you might actually see just pain reducing for you. And both are kind of moving in the same direction regardless. So part A, we're going to test our balance baseline. We're going to go through a Romberg stance and see kind of what feels challenging. And then we're going to practice how our head position dictates how our balance feels. So we're going to do 4 positions, meaning turning the head to the left, turning the head up, right, and down, and trying to accumulate 30 seconds in a challenging position when our head is in one of those positions. Same idea with eye positioning. So we're going to look in one of those 4 directions while we hold that challenging balance position and try to accumulate time in that. Part D, we're going to reset. So we'll do our darkening drill. So that's where or the palming drill, where we take and our hands kind of palm across our eyes to really kind of take that light stimulus down. And we're going to stack it with some box breathing to really down regulate the system a little bit more. So we're more in that rest or digest or that parasympathetic state. Because of all that eye work, it's a little stimulating, and for some of you it might be a little different, might be more stimulating than others. So we're going to really try to make sure we end off on a good note after we finish that balance and that vision work. To follow that up, we're gonna do some interval work this week and a little bit more focused on the midline, I would say. So this one is every 4 minutes for 4 rounds, 12 calories on the rower. And then we're going to go into 6 and 6 kneeling single arm overhead press. This is to really kind of work on our core and our overhead. And then we do one max set of unbroken hollow rocks. When you finish that, you're going to either rest until the 4 minute mark, or you might be actually doing hollow rocks until that 4 minute mark. But the idea is to be able to repeat this at least 4 times. And the overall is going to be focusing on the midline for this workout. So, like I said, Thursday is going to be more about the vision and balance as this theme. The last day of the week, we got our Saturday workout. We're going to go into some endurance and breathing work. I'm going to get you guys to really drive up that fitness in these next 6 weeks here. So there's going to be some kind of breathing skill. This week, we're going to focus on the diaphragm stretch. We're going to do some air hunger drills. So this is where we're going to focus on kind of driving a little bit more activation in our cerebellum when we do these air hunger drills. So you'll feel the urgency to breathe in these drills, though the focus of that is to really allow kind of yourself to calm down after you do it, to allow those blood vessels to open up, especially around the brainstem, to let more blood flow to go in. And that actually helps with a lot of stability and can help you even breathe a little bit better too as well. So tons of benefits from that. So diaphragm stretch, where you do a set of air hunger jumping jacks, a set of air hunger step ups, and a set of air hunger box push-ups. And we're going to go through that 2 times. Make sure you give yourself some rest and time in between. You might feel a little lightheaded after the air hunger drills, so don't make it too intense, but just keep that in mind and allow yourself to kind of recover before you do the next set. So with that said, then our workout is 30 minutes, just very steady pace. We're going to try to nasal breathe the whole time to really help us pace and use our diaphragm in this workout. We're going to row. We're going to do some reverse sled drag, some overhead dumbbell carry, bike calories, box step ups, and skipping. So play with the breathing. And again, if it's not perfect and you have to breathe through your mouth, that's totally okay. Just see if you can make the majority of this 30 minutes through the nose, so you get more of the benefits of breathing, better posture, and better diaphragm activation through doing that today. So this is going to be the focus for Saturdays. We're going to be working on endurance and really honing in those breathing skills and noticing how it activates different areas and how it feels for our body. Hope you guys enjoy this first week into the cycle, and expect to see these intent videos each week to help you kind of get into the mindset of what to expect for the workouts. Have a good week.